on the up. Hi,
Um,
everybody. Happy Tuesday. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Tracy with Cami and Jeff, and we are here with our deep dive tonight. And we are talking about sleep and the importance of sleep and the upcoming daylight savings that is going to be upon us in the wee hours of Saturday night. And, that's always a little bit of a hassle and it always throws me for a little loop. But I really want to stress to you um, the importance of sleep. So it's we're going to talk about here for the next just a few minutes. So this Saturday night, turn those clocks back so you're losing an hour. And there's actually some dangers of sleep deprivation when we do go through this process. And if ever we get the chance to vote on this, man, would I love to vote. I would just say no. Let's just leave us where we are. Let us keep our circadian rhythm in one spot because there are some really disturbing things that happen when we are disrupting our natural wake patterns and sleep patterns and reducing our sleep quality. It does have an impact on our mood. I know it does me. It can trigger depression. It can also increase the risk of heart attack and stroke, which is really scary to me. And when you see some stuff here I'm going to show you, you're going to understand why. And motor vehicle accidents. Did you know that drivers are 17% more likely to get in a collision on the day after daylight savings? That's reported by AAA. And here's some risks of daylight savings switch. 24% increase in heart attacks just because we took away an hour of our sleep time. 8% increase in strokes and a 6% increase in fatal car accidents. These are serious things. This is scary. But I'm here with good news, and we're going to give you some great tips on helping to turn around your sleep. So you will want to adjust your bedtime gradually and try to phase into this little daylight savings thing coming upon us. And try sticking with a sleep routine and using good sleep practices, avoiding caffeine and stimulants and sugar before bed, and just create a really relaxed sleep environment. And during the day, try and spend as much time outdoors as you can. Did you realize that our brain actually is triggered by light? We're going to talk about the gland between our eyebrows here in just a minute. But to help your body adjust, try going to bed 15 to 20 minutes earlier each night for the 3 nights leading up. It's just going to help your body prepare and adjust to this different time. And it helps your body with different cues. And set your clocks ahead 1 hour earlier in the evening so you start to get your brain into this change. It's not as radical if you just do it right before you go to bed and you wake up and, whoa, they ripped me off with an hour of sleep, right? And again, consumption of caffeine is not recommended before sleep ever. But it's tempting to think, oh, no problem. I'm just going to go grab one of my sleep aids. And let me tell you, I did that during my 3 years of the change of life. And I didn't realize the damage I was doing in my brain. I was so desperate for sleep. And I started with these little Kirkland melatonin. And melatonin was a good thing. I didn't know that was a bad thing. When you're using anything synthetic in the body, it really has some negative ramifications. But I was up to 3 of those. And what I did not know is that dementia is linked to common over-the-counter drugs like this. And I was wiping away my literal brain and very, very scary stuff. But medical disclaimer, I'm not a medical professional. I'm not going to be treating or giving treatment advice and diagnosis. I'm just going to be here with informational purposes. So hopefully you can use this for your own longevity, health, and happiness. And if you do have something going, please check with your medical professionals. And our website, harmonypatching.com, has a lot more information, but we do have something called circadian rhythm, and it's 12 hours a day and 12 hours a night. I want to point out the two highlights here for you. About 11 p.m. is when the melatonin secretion starts in our brain, and 2 a.m. ideally is when we're in our deepest level of sleep. And you're going to see here in a minute why we want that. Because our body has a housekeeping clock. Did you know that we have like Mary maids coming into our body throughout the day? And it goes system by system. And a lot of this is based on Chinese acupressure um, clocks. So, starting at 6 in the morning, we have some things clearing out. in the digestive tract. And then about sundown, our kidney, that's when we start to have a little clean out there in the kidneys. The gallbladder about midnight, but 2 a.m. This is the most critical time in our day, nighttime, deep rest sleep, because that's when the garbage gets taken out. The garbage man goes to the door to take that bag out. And if you are awake and you're not in deep REM sleep, guess what? The garbage stays at the door. It doesn't get through the door. But I want to show you here some cognitive performance indicators. So stage one, we're in light sleep. We're just preparing the brain for deeper sleep. Stage two, the memories start consolidating and the brain is filtering out external stimulation. Deep sleep starts in stage three, but really stage four is the goal. And every doctor will tell you the goal is to get your body into REM sleep multiple times throughout the night. But stage five is really where we want to be because that's that glymphatic clearance. That's where the neurotoxic waste in our brains gets purged. It's really important for cognitive clarity. And if we don't get to that stage, again, the waste gets taken to the door, but the door can't open and it stays. And then it creates some big problems. I'm going to walk you through those in a minute. And then stage six is wakefulness. And then, we go throughout the night and we're coming in and out of these stages multiple times. But sleep is protecting our brain's survival. And here's the sad reality. If you aren't sleeping, your brain starts to consume its own cells for survival. And we get these little gaping holes in the brain, and it's very traumatic. And deep, slow wave sleep, like I said, is activating that glymphatic system to clear the brain. That is when the beta amyloid proteins, those are those terrible toxins linked to Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, they get taken out. And it's helping the memories consolidate together. But when you have chronic low level sleep, then you are at risk of cognitive decline and dementia, mood disorders, and so much more. So this sleep thing is not just about one time a year when we get ripped off an hour. This is a very huge problem in the body. And if you're not a good deep sleeper, let's fix that. We've got some tools and we're going to walk you through them here in just a second. But excessive blue light at night, and for some of us, I'm guilty, I'm on my phone or I'm working on my computer, that can really suppress our melatonin production and sleep disruption. But that cognition and dementia risk is very problematic because we're building up those amyloid protein plaques in the brain, and that creates havoc in the body. Very big problems. And I certainly don't want to be waking up every day and meeting a new stranger in my house. I want to make sure I'm getting good sleep and I'm taking good care of my brain health. So I keep my cognition in control here. Cardiovascular and metabolic effects. Not having enough good deep sleep can give your middle section rise with cortisol. That's a hormone response. It's a crisis response to hormones, really. The heart rate can rise, blood pressure raises, and then we have insulin issues happening. That's that blood sugar. And then we have damage to the eye and the retina. And long term, retinal oxidative stress and macular degeneration. And a lot of this can be triggered by that blue light at night at the wrong time of the day. So around sunset is when we really should start tapering down on this blue light stuff. But LifeWave, I'm here. This is like the knight in shining armor coming to your sleep rescue. What we're talking about here is helping the body find balance, homeostasis, getting the toxins out, and resetting the body to a younger, healthier stage. But what we're using here is low-level infrared light. Humans glow. You can't see it, but they do. And we're really working on the same concept of sunlight being absorbed through the skin and telling the body to make vitamin D. So what these patches work on is the light in our body. Infrared light, it's measurable, but you can't see it to the naked eye. But the patches are helping us to relax. They're helping us to better manage our stress with no drugs and no stimulants. They've done, this says 80 clinical trials. There's actually in excess of 90 now. But the number one thing that happens in the first 24 hours is sleep quality goes up. Clinically proven. Memory starts to improve about 7 days. brain calmness about 3 weeks, wound healing, inflammation, skin, on and on. I mean, there's just so many things. The list goes on and on because of this powerful holy grail of health here, X39, the most powerful product this company's ever invented, because it's elevating your own master cells, also called stem cells, and it's reducing inflammation. It is elevating glutathione in your liver by about 30%. That is the usher out of toxins. It makes sure that the exit ramps out of the body's freeway are flowing freely to get toxins out. Most of us, when we do have big diagnoses that we don't like, it's low glutathione. But sleep elevation comes into play with this patch because of GABA. GABA raises in the brain naturally. So a lot of people right out of the gate are reporting increased sleep with X39 alone. I love to pair it with Alavida. I'm going to tell you why in a minute. And if that combination there isn't enough, we can also add an anti-inflammatory eon and silent nights. Usually we get the result we want without silent night, but if you're a tough cookie like I was, I needed all three of these, and it took me 90 days to get consistent deep REM sleep every night. And I have been using these for 4 years now, and every night I have a beautiful dream. But this is just boosting the body's energy and sleep. No drugs, just light, powerful light. And you can see here the many things it's doing. And of course, for tonight's topic, the improvement of sleep is what we're celebrating here about this powerful patch. And it's doing so many great things in the body, activating the stem cells and helping with wounds. But it's that sleep and energy, they work hand in hand. And this picture, tiny little picture, not a great one, was off of a Zoom from the inventor, David Schmidt, talking about different ways you can elevate sleep. So the X39 plus Silent Night, or X39 and Alavida, or Silent Night and Eon. And then we replace Shine and Dream with something more powerful I'll talk about in a minute. But magnesium is really helpful. Taurine, reducing sugar and caffeine. Turning your cell phone and your computer off about an hour before dark. Keeping your feet warm. Maybe sleeping with socks. That really helps. Prolong sleep. And then staying in a dark room. But the dynamic duo, the X39 with our beloved Eon patch, this is the go-to. We have everybody that starts these patches use both because they're so powerful together. But this is considered a happy patch. It works on the autonomic nervous system, and it puts your body into rest and digest instead of that fight or flight, go, 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 anxious, I have too much to do on my list, right? This is calming, and it really helps with sleep. And then here's some positions you can place this Eon between the eyebrows that will instantly calm the brain down. I had a friend have a migraine the other day, and I told her to put that Eon right there, and boom, gone really quickly. I've helped somebody who was experiencing a seizure. We placed it right there. Very, very calming. But behind the right ear, the right temple, very powerful to help turn the brain off. This is just helping you see what it does for inflammation in 5 minutes. The top here is before. The heat is the inflammation. 5 minutes later, that inflammation is just dialed down. Now, Alavida, I mentioned this. This is my personal favorite because when I lost my brain and I thought I had Alzheimer's, I started sleeping with this between my eyebrows, and it quickly brought back some incredible things in my brain. Most important for sleep here is it activates melatonin, and it helps endocrine regulation. That's hormones, right? It's doing so many great things. Frontal lobe of the brain. It is a trigger, fountain of youth trigger to bring back our own natural collagen. And I'm a sun worshiper, and my skin is better now than when I was 40. Hyaluronic acid and so many other things. But in the middle of our brain is something called the pineal gland. And that little gland is allowed to calcify. Mother Nature allows these little crystals to collect. A lot of that crystallization they find is from chlorine and fluoride. Things in some of our municipalities they put in our water. That's not good. We are having accelerated aging because of these little crystals. But until this company, this product, there was nothing you could do about that but age with your body. This, sleeping with it, breaks down that crystal barrier and gets the messaging back out. So for me, it regenerated my thyroid gland in about 4.5 months. I got off of my levothyroxine. I'd been on for 15 years, and they told me I'd be on it till the day I died. But here you can see that pineal gland and the hypothalamus. the adrenals. All of this is working synergistically when we get the body back in balance and we decalcify that gland. You'd be amazed at what starts happening. So, that silent night patch, it works beautifully with phototherapy to help get the brain and the body into that deep, restful sleep by bringing back melatonin. There are multiple places you can place it. We encourage you to rotate this around in the beginning, elevating melatonin throughout your body, and then find the favorite spot you like. For me, I loved it on my right temple. I no longer need this one, by the way. I don't use Eon at night either, but this is helping you to embrace the art of relaxation. And in clinical trials, they determined it improves the duration and quality of sleep by about 60%. But here is our miracle sleep formula, Celergize Evening. This is a game changer, and you mix a scoop of this in water, I'd say about a hour before you go to bed. It is helping your body get the right kind of nutrient and minerals that inspire sleep, deep, restful REM sleep. And I found this really interesting the other day. I ran across this. It was a doctor who now uses these patches in his practice. And he says, every autoimmune patient I see improves faster when they reconnect with light, period. He's using light in the power of a patch. And we do too. And that is the power of putting light into the body. Again, the patch is simply signaling your body. It stimulates the skin and it's making communication and pathways. Think of your remote control and the relationship it has with your TV changing the channel. The patch is like the remote control. Your body is the ultimate computer. So I figured out what I want to be when I get older, and that's younger. And thank you, LifeWave, and my whole family. We're all getting younger, and we're just so thankful to have a tool like this. And we're so glad you could join us tonight. I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording, and then we can answer some questions.